¿Qué tal, comunidad? Aquí es el abogado Ray Maldonado. Como siempre, un gusto. Hoy es el día 9, para confirmar, día 9 de octubre 2025. Siempre tengo que clarificar la fecha porque las noticias de migración están cambiando tan rápido que es importante que sabemos exactamente la fecha porque siempre hay cosas nuevas. Empezando con cosas nuevas, un corte federal ha dicho que el presidente Trump no puede usar el ejército, el Guardia Nacional en Illinois sin el permiso del gobernador. Ellos dicen que no queremos ustedes aquí y ya un corte federal está de acuerdo con el gobernador y Trump no le puede usar la Guardia Nacional en Illinois. Algo tan importante, tenemos que recordar que ese país fue fundado por personas que no le gustaban lo que estaba haciendo el gobierno de donde ellos vinieron, de Inglaterra. Es muy importante que recordamos que específicamente fue la razón por que ellos pasaron una ley, el Posse Comitatus Act, que significa que no puede usar el ejército para cosas en el país en contra de las comunidades. Básicamente, ellos escribieron eso y eso tiene que seguir ya Trump, el orden del juez federal que no puede usar la Guardia Nacional en Illinois. Algo muy, muy bueno y siempre queremos empezar dando muchísimas gracias a todo el público en Chicago, en California, que están peleando y alrededor del país muy duro en contra de estos problemas que tenemos ahorita con este presidente. Y nosotros estamos localizados en Phoenix, también tenemos una oficina en Miami y clientes todo el país y todo el mundo. Y muchos me están preguntando, abogado, pero en Phoenix, ¿por qué no está pasando como está pasando en Chicago? ¿Por qué no está pasando como está pasando en Illinois? Y la razón es básicamente porque ICE y la policía local ya tiene esta relación, ya tiene colaboración. ICE está dentro de la cárcel del condado de Maricopa. Chicago, Los Ángeles, no en todos los cárceles están ICE. ICE está como VIP especial en el condado de Maricopa. So, entrevistan cada persona que pasa por las puertas de ahí. Las agencias de DPS aquí en el estado, si para una persona en la carretera, si hay un accidente, ellos le van a preguntar sobre migración. Es como ya tenemos agentes de migración aquí patrullando las calles. So, por esa razón, ICE ya está tan ocupado con cosas de hacer porque tiene tanta cooperación con el gobierno local, aunque tenemos gobernadora demócrata, aunque tenemos un alcalde de la ciudad de Phoenix demócrata, sigue haciendo problemas. So, recordamos, comunidad, no es un problema nada más de los republicanos contra los demócratas. Son los dos partidos que están culpables de no dar atención suficiente y protección suficiente a los migrantes. Y eso es lo que estamos batallando ahorita. Las noticias más recientes, por favor, recuerda, si tienes una aplicación de ciudadanía que quieres meter el día 20 de octubre, va a cambiar y personas van a tener que hacer otro examen diferente, más difícil. Las preguntas todavía posible, ¿verdad? Todavía posible, pero sí es un cambio que viene en camino los siguientes días. Entonces, ya está trabajando en la aplicación, por favor, termina pronto para que llegue a UCIS antes del 20. El día 20 es un lunes. No queremos que usted piense que, pues voy a mandarlo el día 20, voy a estar bien. No, tiene que llegar antes del día 20. Si llega el día 20, usted ya está en el nuevo examen. ¿Okay? Y como siempre, puede poner sus comentarios aquí abajo, sus preguntas. Aquí estamos para servirle en inglés, en español, sobre el tema que ustedes quieren, en migración, en penal y accidentes. Con gusto yo lo puedo contestar más que yo puedo. ¿Okay? Algo más reciente en el lado penal que hemos visto. Estamos viendo muchas personas que en el pasado iba a ser trasladado nada más a migración, pero ya va con los marshals a un corte federal. So vamos a usar otra vez el ejemplo aquí de Phoenix. ¿Okay? una persona es arrestado por ICE, lo manda a 2035 Norte Central aquí, y ahí lo determinan qué van a hacer con ellos. Normalmente, en el pasado, la decisión era, vamos a mandarle con un juez en Florence o Eloy, vamos a dar a usted una salida voluntaria y puede estar en Nogales hoy. Vamos a dejar usted salir a su casa con órdenes de llegar con nosotros o con el juez en futuro afuera en Phoenix. Y ahorita, una cosa que lo están haciendo con más frecuencia, que sí hicieron antes también, pero es mandándolo con los Marshals, los US Marshals. So ICE dice, US Marshals, usted sí puede venir a recoger a esa persona y ellos los mandan a Corte Federal 401 West Washington. Aquí puede cada día y puede ver esos casos, ¿ok? Ahí lo están poniendo cargos de legalmente reentrar al país después de una deportación. Y usted está siendo abogado, pero yo pensaba que usted siempre diga que no es ilegal, no es en contra de la ley de estar aquí sin permiso. Eso es la verdad. No hay un cargo federal penal que dice de estar aquí sin estatus es un delito. El cargo que le pongan en Corte Federal es ilegalmente regresó al país después de una deportación. Esa es una felonía federal. So, personas que antes iba a ser sacado rápido del país porque tiene deportación, ya lo están mandando a Corte Federal. Sí es cierto, lo han hecho eso por muchos años, pero normalmente eran personas con cargos penales en el pasado, algo grave, y ellos querían poner tiempo en prisión y después lo mandan a ser deportados. También hemos visto que personas más recientemente que han entrado al país, que no fueron deportados, lo están mandando también con los Marshals a Corte Federal y están poniendo un cargo de legalmente entrar al país. Pero abogado, usted acaba de decir que no es ilegal estar aquí sin permiso. Sí es cierto, no es. Pero el acto de cruzar la frontera, no en una puerta de entrada, eso sí puede ser un crimen. Y si das admisión que usted hizo eso en los últimos 2 años, lo pueden mandar a Corte Federal y poner cargos. Otra vez, estar aquí, si entró con visa y quedó más tiempo, no es un crimen, es en contra de la inmigración y lo pueden poner con juez de inmigración, pero para mandarlo con los Marshals, con un cargo federal penal, sí estamos viendo gente que nada más entró sin permiso y dio admisión. Por eso digamos siempre, comunidad, siempre, el cosa más mejor que puede hacer enfrente de la policía, enfrente del ICE, si usted piensa que es posible que ponga cargos penales a usted, es no contestar nada. Si usted no da admisión de algo, se hace más difícil para el gobierno aprobar su caso. Y no es nada mal con eso. Tenemos que cambiar nuestra manera de pensar de esos tipos de acciones porque estás ejerciendo su derecho de mantener silencio, su derecho a pedir un abogado. Estás ejerciendo sus derechos cuando pides eso a un oficial, en vez de pensar, oh, pues yo tengo que cooperar, yo tengo que decir, no soy de este país. Todavía tienes derechos. La ley funciona. Si usted está con estatus, sin estatus, residente, ciudadano, queremos que bajo las leyes penales, todos tienen derechos a reservar sus derechos y nadie está obligado a ser testigo en contra de ellos mismos. Eso es una cosa muy nueva que estamos viendo. Más cosas federales penales. Sigue siendo casos de drogas, casos de armas, casos de dinero. Esos casos también siguen. Y con el Estado también estamos viendo que ellos siguen con las mismas cargos de antes. No hay muchos cambios ahí. Los cambios grandes son con Trump, que él tiene poder, son los cortes federales. ¿Okay? También en el lado de migración estoy muy orgulloso de reportar que nuestros abogados, el abogado Zacharias, la abogada Vanessa, han ganado 2 cancelaciones de deportación en este último mes. Algo increíble. Algunas personas que fueron arrestados por Trump, lo mandaron al centro de detenciones, no le dieron fianza y de todos modos van a salir como residentes permanentes. Es un ejemplo grandísimo, estoy tan orgullo del trabajo que hicieron esos abogados nosotros y también los paralegales aquí en la oficina, porque esas personas de principio estaban muy tristes con la posibilidad que nunca va a estar con sus familias otra vez. Y en vez de nada más salir de la cárcel, están saliendo como residentes permanentes con camino a la ciudadanía. Todos que han dicho que es imposible bajo Trump, no puede ganar nada bajo Trump, Trump es el Dios de todos y va a deportar a todos, mentiras. Nosotros ya podemos decir con mucha confianza, en menos de un año que Trump es presidente, ya hemos ganado 2 casos de cancelación de deportación para gente detenida, sin chance de salir, estar con su familia, presos aquí en Florence y Lloyd. Muchísimas felicidades a nuestro equipo, nuestros abogados, Zacharias y Vanessa, por esas victorias tan grandes e increíbles. Corre el voz, por favor, si es posible todavía ganar su caso bajo la administración de Donald Trump. ¿Okay? Voy a cambiar a inglés, como siempre, si estás viendo y quiere hacer sus preguntas o comentarios en el idioma que ustedes pueden, ahí pueden y yo les puedo contestar. ¿Okay? Algo muy importante, seguir avisando a la gente de mantener silencio y pedir un abogado si son arrestados por algo. Okay? So, ladies and gentlemen, it is Thursday, October the 9th. I look carefully at the calendar every time before I start speaking because things are changing so rapidly that what I say today might not be what the law of the land is next week. So many changes happening so fast. In the area of criminal law, what we are seeing is a great increase in the number of people that are being sent to federal court for charges of illegal reentry after deportation. In the past, they would still do these cases. It's not the first time the federal government's ever charged somebody with that, but they wouldn't do it for everybody. Now it seems like anybody that has an expedited order removal, a removal order from the judge, they're sending them to go see the marshals before they send them back to their country of origin, with the idea being, we want to make it so horrible for you that we're going to put you in prison, then we're going to deport you. The defenses to these cases are very limited, and not going to lie. The elements of the offense are that you were removed from the country before, that you re-enter without permission. They can prove those 2 things. Essentially, they have, and your alienage, or your nationality, I hate using that word, it's a legal term that still gets thrown around in the courts that we appear at. Then therefore, they can find you guilty, give you a sentence based on your past criminal history, the amount of time that you've done in jail or prison before, and then send you back to immigration to be removed from the country. And remember, when you're in that situation with a prior removal order, the only way to stop that from being executed is to say, I have a fear of returning to my country of origin, which by then you should be given your right to an asylum officer interviewing you for what's called a reasonable fear interview, where they can determine whether or not you have the opportunity to present a case of the Convention Against Torture or Withholding of Removal in front of the immigration judge. Most of our clients from Mexico, from Latin America, are just saying, we're not going to win now, so no, we're not even going to bother doing that. Honestly, in the majority of cases, that's probably the right thing to do. Why spend more money? Why spend months detained when there's no chance of you getting out? But there are still cases that's possible to win. We've won in this office before withholding and removal for people from Mexico. I anticipate we will win it again in the future, but it has to be that right case, right? Other great news that we're seeing coming out, the ACLU reporting that a federal judge has agreed with Illinois and said that Trump cannot bring National Guard troops without their consent. Remember the Posse Comitatus Act. There's a reason we have a law that says we do not want the federal government, the military, exercising discretion in our criminal laws and arresting our own citizens. They are for protecting us, not for enforcing the law. That's what local law enforcement is for. So a great victory there. Big shout out to folks in Illinois, folks in Los Angeles who've been fighting back against ICE and standing up for the community. Big shout out, big thank you from those that are on the front lines here representing folks in court. We really appreciate and love seeing the activism in the community and people standing up for their constitutional right to express themselves and for the rights of families to be together. So thank you so much for all that you're doing. On the immigration end, I am so unbelievably proud and honored to report that our attorneys, Zach and Vanessa, have each won a detained cancellation of removal case in the past few weeks. And that is a mouthful to say. And people, when I say it to people, and I'm just like in tears when I find out these victories, it's so hard to comprehend. Cancellation of removal for a non-permanent resident means that you've been living in the country for longer than 10 years, 10 plus years. You have a qualifying relative, which is a U.S. citizen child or permanent resident child, spouse, mother, or father, and they're going to suffer extreme and unusual hardship if you're removed from the country. And the part that's hard to win, guess what, folks? Those words, extreme and unusual hardship. So think of it as, if you were deported, well, your family would lose your income, they'd lose your support, they'd lose your love, they'd lose you taking them to soccer practice, taking them to school. None of that is extreme and unusual hardship. There are immigration cases you can read. I think in decades they'll be looked back and read, and people will be like, how cruel was this government? But it's in black and white. It says that is not extreme and unusual hardship. Extreme and unusual hardship has to be something different than, imagine if your neighbor was in the same situation as you, how would your case be extreme and unusual, not just having to do with money, love, affection that a normal family provides? So those cases are so difficult to win. We've won 2 detained cases, people in Eloy and Florence that for months had to stay in there. And not only are they coming home to their family, they're coming home as legal, permanent residents with a path to citizenship. Am I saying it to brag? I am. I'm so unbelievably proud. The fact that we have people here that grind every day to answer the phones, to put out social media, to put out ads, to get the calls, to get the information, to talk to people, to get them to sign up, to work the cases, to do the jail visits, to fill out the applications, put the forms together, to prepare the clients for interviews. I want to cry right now just thinking about it. The victories, being able in this administration to not just fight back, but to fight back and win. So yes, I'm going to brag about it. Yes, I'm going to talk about it. And yes, I'm going to say I'm as proud as a guy could be. If you want to be successful in life, surround yourself with people who are more intelligent than you. I just said that. Right? We have a pretty good sized team here now, about 40 folks that we have working Ibarra Maldonado Law Group. And the secret, the key, folks, find people smarter than you and get out of their way. Let them do what they do. And the victories will come. And that's what we're seeing right now. So happy to report that the victories can still happen. Please, please tell folks, tell everybody you know, if you get detained, it's sad, it's horrible, it's heartbreaking, it's depressing. I'm not going to sit here and lie and say don't feel what you feel. That's the reality. But it's still possible, folks. It's still possible to win. And we got the prime examples right here of what we've been doing in this office. All right, so that's the latest on criminal immigration. Feel free to throw down your questions here. We have Blanca. I have a question. My son just joined the Army. I want to get more information. Great question there, Blanca. Let me give you a little bit of an overview for you and for everybody else watching of how significant that is. Okay. For someone who enters the military, they have the ability to apply for a couple of things, and we're going to focus on parents here, right? Because it says son. So for their parents, they can fill out an application that's called Military Parole in Place, MPIP, right? Military Parole in Place. Military Parole in Place is a huge benefit to folks because it gives you what's called a legal entry. If you came in with a tourist visa, If you came in with the tourist visa already, it doesn't really help you that much, right? It's not that big of a deal. If you came in iwi without inspection, then it becomes a huge deal because now you have, through the military and parole in place, a legal entry, and now you're eligible to apply for adjustment of status. Now, here's the crazy thing that I'm saying right there, right? Eligible to apply for adjustment of status. It's not a waiver for everything. If someone has a C bar, if they entered the country, lived here longer than a year, I'm getting saved right now by somebody, go for it. Look at that, watch this one, magic. Bam, look at that. Thank you, Gali. If you have the legal entry or the military and parole in place now, but you lived here for longer than a year, left the country, had mom's dad's funeral, whatever it was, and you came back without inspection, you have what's called a C bar or the permanent bar. Military parole in place does not fix that. Military parole in place does nothing for that. If you have, I'm not talking about you, Blanc, I'm saying in general, right? If you have a certain conviction, if you have a drug for sale conviction and your kid's into the military, it's not going to help you get adjustment of status, right? So you still getting the military parole in place gives you what's called an admission or parole for the 245A adjustment application, giving you the right to ask for an interview to see if you can be admissible, deemed admissible to become a permanent resident. For a lot of folks, it just doesn't matter. But if you're one of those people that came in one time in the country without inspection, you have no criminal history or nothing that makes you inadmissible, then it's huge. It's golden. It's amazing. On the other hand, if you do have a ground of inadmissibility and you can't adjust status, you can't become a permanent resident, you can't get your papers for the C bar, for a criminal activity, for admission to being a U.S. False claim to U.S. citizenship, there's a bunch of reasons why you might not be able to. You can still apply through your son in the military, which is the other thing that they can apply for you, for deferred action military parole, right? What that means is you're kind of saying like, hey, parole in place doesn't mean anything for me, or I came in with a tourist visa, but I'm not admissible, but I want the deferred action and I want the work permit, right? So with that case, then yeah, having the parole in place or the deferred action is basically, the logic behind it is we don't want your son to be sent off to fight for the country and worried about mom or dad being deported. So it's not a savior for everybody, but it can lead to adjustment of status for a lot of people, and it can lead to protection for deportation even if you're not eligible for adjustment of status, all right? So Blanca says, I've been here since I was 3 years old, and I've been here since she was 3, so I'm hoping that means you've never left since, and you're otherwise admissible to the country. If so, then doing that military parole in place is a great, great advantage for you. You can do it once they're in the military. You can't still adjust status until the son turns 21, unless you have a spouse or somebody else who is able to qualify and apply for you because they're 21-year-old U.S. citizen child or U.S. citizen spouse or mom or dad, right? So we still might have to wait until they turn 21, but it is a huge, huge plus. And the number is right here if you want to go more in detail, 602-910-4040. And Blanca, I always tell everybody, say it again here live, it's recorded. Talk to 3 immigration attorneys at least before you decide which one to go to. Yes, I'm here. I'm on Facebook. I'm on YouTube. You see me on Telemundo, Univision, all that good stuff. It doesn't mean that you should just take my word as the gospel truth. When you are talking to an attorney, you are interviewing an attorney, right? Does this attorney know what they're doing? Are they experienced? Are they qualified? Do they have enough resources to work on my case? Do they have enough experience to work on my case? Right? You want to do your research and get that information. And once you have done enough of your research, where do I feel most comfortable at? Where did I receive the best attention and treatment, right? And who earned my money, That's one thing that I want the community to really be more cognizant of, is not just the first person you call, throw your money at them. Interview the attorneys, read the reviews, ask people, and figure out, okay, which law firm deserves my hard-earned money, because they're going to give me that amazing service that I deserve. All right. So we look forward to hearing from you, Blanca, and talking more about the facts and what we can do for you, but it's definitely off to the right start. All right. Questions, comments, concerns, ladies and gentlemen, we are here live with the lights on. And try to turn the lights off on us, doesn't matter. We got Leia here staying late as well. I can turn the lights off, click, and we're back in business. It is Thursday, October 9th, talking about the changes in criminal and immigration. And I appreciate everybody tuning in. And again, we're doing this every week. Even if you're not watching on live, throw your comments down. I can address it on the next live or maybe in the comments. And I look forward to seeing everybody here next week as well. Thanks again for tuning in. Keep hitting the streets. Keep fighting back. Keep informing people. Keep educating people. We still got a few more years of this orange guy, but we're going to keep winning cases. We're going to keep fighting back, and we're going to keep enjoying life. Don't forget about that part, folks. Take care.